probably get a wife.
You hear that line? Line's for you. Don't make me last. For one people. It's a myth created by Thomas Jefferson. Oh, now you never go with Jefferson, huh? My friend Jefferson's an American saint because he wrote the words all men are created equal. Words he clearly didn't believe since he allowed his own children to live
Recording.
He's a rich wine snob who's sick of paying taxes to the Brits. So yeah, he wrote some lovely words and aroused the rabble, and they went out and died for those words. While he sat back and drank his wine and fucked his slave girl. This guy wants to tell me we're living in a community. Don't make me laugh. I'm living in America, and in America you're on your own. America's not a country. It's just a business. Now fucking pay me.
Respect the shooter, cause every kill around me I salute. Respect the shooter, cause anytime I got it I'ma shoot. Respect the shooter, cause every kill around me I salute. Fuck around with them, fuck around, you gon' fuck around and get smoked. Mess around with them, mess around, you gon' mess around and be broke. Get your hustle on with them hustlers and I promise you get dope. You talk a lot, you a chatterbox, but real niggas lay low. Squad, looking in my eyes, I'm a scum little boy. Got the black folk fall with the drum little boy. Better run little boy when we come little boy. When we play with the toys and the fun little boy. Came from the sons we from little boy. Hit him in the spine, leave him numb little boy. Ain't the one little boy, ain't the one little boy. Got them hollow tips hotter than sun little boy.
Today marks the change of not only a new year, but a new millennium. Take a look around. The majority of the youth roam the streets, dealing in drugs, sex, and violence, thinking these things have no real effect on life. Crimes without real punishment, an uncaring, unfeeling generation without knowledge of self. This is the future of our nation, the future of our people. Do you think hatred and evil will go unpunished? The world is now feeling the heat from flames it has kept burning since the beginning of civilization. You represent that fire. You and I are just a small part of God's flame.
All right. Sure.
Cause anytime I got it, I'ma shoot. Respect the shooter. Cause every kid around me, I salute. Respect the shooter. Cause anytime I got it, I'ma shoot. Respect the shooter. Cause every kid around me, I salute. Tell me who want drama with? All I got is something they will. Bitches saying scratch they kid.
How's it going? How's it going, bro? What's up, Humalama? Yo, I never saw a Vendy's mini app link. I don't know if I just missed your cast about it, but I saw you casting about it. I just never saw it. Let me see. No, nothing yet. Not out yet, still working on it. Okay, bet. Oh. Super Boo was working on the button game. Wonder how that's gone. Yo, wait. Yo, Protardio #1. That us. Talk to the Oink team, gonna roll up stable AI into Vindy's app coin, most likely. Connect. Oh, can I mint? Oh, shit. Eligible left 5. Oh! Fuck yes. Okay, wait. 1? I want 5, motherfucker. Let me mint 5, brother. Okay, I'm hurrying. Maybe I need to do it multiple times. Oh! I got number 453. Yes! I got a fucking Kenny. Let's go. Oh, wait, I can't do that. Never mind. Oops. Okay, let me get another one. Let me do more. Meat. No! Lost half my dollar on pizza already? Is pizza? Is pizza a coin? Oh, a donut clone. Yeah, we're wearing this one. We gotta do it for our bros. I can't believe they got a set PFP. Alari, what is up? It's been a minute. Yes. Yes. What if I refresh this? Will it work already? No way. Yeah, no way is it gonna refresh my PFP that quick. How's it going, Alari? Turn the music down a little bit more. Oh, so good to see you, bros. Oh yeah, here's the button game. Button game 2, I guess. Sorry, clicking buttons, be ready soon. That's cute. Oh wait, I was on my Protardio app. You're a bit low? Ah, damn. Thing is, if I turn it up, then my noise gate. Just tell me if you can hear the TV in the background. How's my levels now, John Bull? Thank you. Let's hope it stays that way. Sounds okay to me. I barely hear TV. Oh, you can barely hear it? I was not eligible for Protardio, but my collectors were. Dang, it didn't even link the... Okay, that's funny. Retake. Hello, retake mussers. We need a name for these retake muss chatters. If you ain't a farmer and you're a real fam, you'll go quote cast and engage with the blast off stream. Damn it! I can't mint more than one. Ah! It said I was eligible for 5, motherfucker. Oh wait, I already did. Oh fuck. Cancel. No, it keeps crashing every time I try to mint a new one. At least I got one. And at least it's Kenny. Fuck yeah. Bruh, y'all are so jelly. Yeah, motherfuckers. Look at that shit, bro. How we doing on notifications? Thank you, John Bull. We are live, brethren. You changed your PFP. It's gonna take a while to get used to. This one will probably just wear for a day or two. I mean, I do like it a lot. I might change it. So one thing I do to try to get people to still remember it's me is I'll edit it into my own little black and white filter. So maybe I'll do that for this guy too, but I really like him. He's so cute. He's got the fucking smiley face, and I don't even know what this guy is, but he's fucking good. Yeah, dude, you definitely hear the TV in the background. Motherfucker. Yeah, that should be good. So I'll just make sure to talk really good into the mic. It's a Protardio, and that's what you got now, so I think it'll be okay. I wanted 5. I wanted 5. Let's try one more time. Let's try just one more time. Just one more time. Just one more. Gimme. Yes. Persistence pays off. 455. So I have 453 and 455. See what happens if I just cast it. Is it empty? Nothing. Yes, give it to me. Give them all. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 2 left, boys. 2 left. If we sell any of these, we're buying Protardio packs. That is just needed. Okay, 457. I'm thinking about trying to get like a 666 or 69.69. Is there 10,000? Because I've got 4 now. Yeah, and there's 457 minted. So let's try to wait around. Maybe I'll try to get 69.69 or 666. I'll keep checking in on this app. Damn, bro, I want one of those demon ones though. Oh, yes. Ask and ye shall receive. I got 2. Oh, yes. Yeah, this one's still my best one. Let's see what we got going on in OpenSea already. Is there any listed? 0.03. Oh, we opening prices are brutal. Any that I might want. This one's kind of crazy. That goes kind of hard. Ooh, I like that. Ah, yes. Oh, this one goes hard. And I was so close to getting him. Just bald as hell. This is crazy. Ah. Damn.
You said America deserved 9/11. Did you mean that?
Yeah. Dang, these is going hard. Just in time for Christmas. Thank you. Oh, look at him. He said, first, congrats on being on Forecaster 2022. Make sure you don't miss Medicare enrollment. This motherfucker. Yo, where's this guy's Protardio post? Dude, we got the horse facts. We got the horse facts. Like, we good. We in this. Damn, what is his? Oh, that goes hard. Can I see what number it is? Can I check it? Dude, even this kind of matches his shirt somehow. Like a little bit, of course. Clank fast. I clank fast. Oh, ran out of my tipping. Oh, shit. I still got to oink more. Oink, oink. Ooh. What am I, pop? Oh. I got to oink more. What am I, a cop? Oh, when does my allowance run out on that? Oh, dang it. It's doing the thing where it tells me I have 0 viewers. I hope that's not true. Nope, I got 4. It's always depressing when you see none, when there should be sub. Oh. Alrighty. Figure we'll jump into a YouTube video first. Nice little ICE versus Gestapo. And then I think I want to start consistently scrolling through Cura. Seeing how much better the scroll is, and then we'll kind of, as a little chat and streamer, we'll like, recast, curate, tip. You guys can tell me what you like.
ICE does the most brutal raids possible. ICE does the most brutal raids possible, deports people to countries they didn't even come from, deports them to El Salvadorian prison camps where they go missing. They go missing inside the US too. They create concentration camps with worms in the food. A Chinese immigrant was found dead in ICE detention with his hands and feet tied. Injustice anywhere might as well be happening right next to you, because the US is so influential, it will eventually influence your own country too. And me personally, I don't want to see this bullshit in my country. They do these raids because they say these illegal immigrants are criminals. They don't do anything and they take American taxpayer money, which is why they raid places of employment like construction sites. They're even dangerous. Just look at this mother being detained without a warrant. I'm sure she must be some sort of Al-Qaeda, Hamas terrorist. There are countless videos on the internet. When you work in ICE, you're supposed to arrest people your country doesn't want in their borders by ethnicity. When you work in Gestapo, you are supposed to arrest people your country doesn't want in their borders by ethnicity, usually needing to have a strong eye to look out for who is good to go and not good to go. The weirdest thing is how they arrest citizens born in America and the ones that got naturalized legally by living in the US for like 15 fucking years. Bro, if you live anywhere for 15 years, you're a loco.
A terrified woman flees two men in masks.
Leave me alone!
It's not a mugging. She's an American citizen being chased by ICE agents who think she's here illegally.
And these people who are deported are sometimes not deported to their own home country, but whatever they look like. Such as when they deported this massive Cuban Trump supporter. I could give you a million guesses and you would never guess where they deported this
El
dude
Salvador.
from Cuba to. They deported him to fucking Eswatini. As you can see on this map, there is a very large distance between Cuba and Eswatini. I also want to thank my sponsor for today, CyberGhost VPN. These guys are very popular with over 38 million users worldwide
I
and
haven't heard of
over
this one.
20,000 excellent reviews on Trustpilot. You know how much 38 million people is? That's like all of Canada. And in today's age where privacy is being absolutely cooked by countries and companies, using incognito mode does not do anything. Your internet service provider, your school, even your home Wi-Fi router, they can all track what you do online. And that's where CyberGhost VPN solves the issue. Select one of their over 100 locations before you browse to encrypt and reroute all of your traffic through their secure servers. This way, no one will even know about your online activity. CyberGhost also unlocks geo-restricted games and content from over 40 streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, anything. And you can even score better deals online by simply changing your virtual location. It works on all major devices and operating systems, Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, and you can protect up to 7 devices at the same time, which is very good for sharing with friends and family. With my link in the description, you get their best deal ever. Just $2.03 a month, plus 4 months for free, which is 84% off. There's even a 45-day money-back
skeptical of
guarantee,
the
so you have
VPNs.
nothing to lose. It's a great
even
product.
though it's like my
Also,
favorite
$2 a
YouTubers
month
are
for a
all
VPN is
sponsored by them.
very
I
good.
can't see
Also, I
myself
can personally
using one
attest
of them. I
that it
might
has
use Nim.
good
That's
download
the
and
only
upload
thing.
speeds, and they have good servers, so they're not like cheaping out on this. By signing up using my link in the description, you can also help me create more videos like this one. And yeah, thank you to CyberGhost VPN for the sponsor. Or how people just randomly get sent to El Salvador, including Venezuelans that got deported from America and then got tortured in the prisons in El Salvador. These people escaped their countries to make money and send money back home, because the US ruined their fucking hometowns, ruined all of Latin America completely, overthrowing their governments for fucking bananas, and then after the only way to make money that was left was to immigrate to America, they sent them to El Salvador where they are tortured. And you know, with ICE, you have to carry your papers with you showing that you legally can be in the country, so when these officers come up to you to ask you for your papers, you don't get imprisoned. We had a dude doing the same exact thing here in Europe. It was a whole thing where you needed to carry your papers with you at all times. How about an armband as well? So these nice officers don't have to go through the trouble of checking all these people's papers. And even if you carry your papers with you, these motherfuckers will just say your passport is not real and arrest you.
How many United States military veterans have you deported?
Sir, we have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans.
Madam Secretary, we are joined on Zoom by a gentleman named Sejun Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989. Earlier this year, you deported him to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old.
ICE has zero morals. They arrest mothers in front of schools. They give people seizures. They pull guns on people.
Forgot to unmute again. Gonna do one little blast off cast into politics again, because I think the more I cast while I'm live, the more people come in and out, because a lot of you just come in for a second. Oh, wait, I got other things to do, and then you dip out. And you don't engage, you don't give me any quote, guys, so I gotta do all the work myself. Do I have any Protardios, actually? Protardio packs? Oh! Oh! I got 11! Oh, yeah, baby. Dude, did their price go up? Yeah, it's got a nice little spiky. Whoa, what was this? December 11th. Oh. Damn. Oh, Burt Corn went back to it. Oh, man, that's funny. All right.
they shove women to the ground, they pepper spray priests, and this all depends on how you look. And I hope you're ready to get harassed anytime.
Oh, shit. My chat wasn't updating. There you are. What's up, retake? I understand why the Cura's Android version is taking so long. Yeah, it's because it's more beta. Is it the app? Best way to use Cura is on desktop on the site, in my opinion. And then the app will slowly but surely get all the bugs ironed out.
What's here? What country was you born here? Was you born here, man? What country was you born in?
But the best thing is, you don't even have to be illegal for ICE to arrest you, or minimum, harass you. There are so many videos online of Americans getting arrested because they're black or Hispanic. And the reason I care about this so much is because whatever happens in the US happens in the rest of the world too, because it's such an important country. And personally, I don't want to be kidnapped by masked men while I'm being a tourist in like Spain or some shit, and I didn't carry my passport with me, because pickpocketing is a 6-figure salary in Spain, and I don't want it stolen. I just think ICE is one of the most evil things this world has ever invented. Just randomly harassing people and being this brutal towards them. P.S. Who the fuck does Jeremy Renner think he is? He's literally only known for playing the lamest Avenger, and he allegedly threatened to call ICE on his Chinese girlfriend. Also, there's this video with an ICE agent enjoying his day off, driving drunk as shit with his kids, and he gets arrested by black people and tries to go Hans Landa on the dude, trying to figure out what sort of a black he is exactly.
You don't want to get hit. You don't want you to get hit. That's why I'm trying to do the exercise. That way we can move on.
Are you Haitian?
Are you Haitian?
My question was, are you Haitian?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where he's from. Okay. Look, man.
Because Trump is so into insider trading and crashing the economy on a whim, just to tell then everyone buy the dip and then flex on how much money his friends made, a lot of people have been complaining that the American economy has not been doing so good. And this TikTok of now that Trump is president, we will be able to afford a house did not come into fruition, along with massive public sector cuts because of fucking Elon Musk. Oh my god, man, this world is a this world is a clown. It is a clown hole. It's a circus. Genuinely is a circus, man. I can't believe Big 25, right? We were supposed to have flying cars. What do we have? Putin, Netanyahu, Trump, and Elon, and AI slop. Oh, don't forget Palantir. Bro, the co-founder is so funny because you could have any hobby in the world, right? Like, for example, me, I like playing PlayStation, right? And I like Souls-like games. Like, I like Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, right? I also like, you know, I don't know, working out and stuff, right? But I can't believe this dude's hobby is talking about the Antichrist, bro. Like, why couldn't you choose anything else as a hobby? Like, you could like traveling or something, right? But no, his hobby is giving lectures about the Antichrist. So many people have been fired from their careers they've built up for years. But then Donnie comes in. You can join ICE. ICE is the best organization there is.
Bro, I can't even watch UFC anymore. What the fuck is this bullshit, bro?
By the way, you will get a salary of $100,000 with a $50,000 signing bonus. What? Are you out of your fucking mind? I've never even seen $100,000. And this motherfucker is giving this salary out to professional racist kidnappers. You're firing teachers and USAID workers, saving lives to hire more people at ICE. Although it would be very hard to expect anything else from a dude who was referred to as a loyal lapdog by Jeffrey Epstein. After a long day of blowing Bubba, being called a lapdog by evil kid rapists, you just gotta get it out your system and start arresting some mothers. Also, these agents are literally just some dudes. No special training or anything. They just give a dude a gun and tell them to arrest a Mexican. They're not even good at this shit because they keep detaining Americans. If I was in ICE, bro, I'm a professional. I can tell a Norwegian apart from a Swede. And I can even notice if they're around the area by the amount of snus nearby. But this is just my hobby, you know? I don't ruin anyone's lives. Also, they just wear masks, have guns, and never show identification or any sort of warrant. They could just be some random dudes kidnapping you, and you would never know until you arrive at the destination in the van. And because ICE doesn't identify themselves, some people just started dressing up in masks and kidnapping people, pretending they are ICE. And they just get away with it. They come up to you, no documents, guns, put you in a van and take you away. Now, both Gestapo and ICE have their own camps where they concentrate a lot of people in it. ICE actually built one in Florida and called it Alligator Alcatraz, where the detained people were packed wall to wall in cages, having 32 detainees per cage, and even lawmakers were not permitted to view the entire facility. More than 95% of the detainees were from Latin America. There were maggots in the food, and people had to dig the shit out of the toilets with their bare hands because of the lack of plumbing. And obviously, inhumane treatment and brutality at the camp was common. Not only that, but 1,800 people were detained here, and the whereabouts of about 2/3 of those people could not be determined by their family, lawyers, or journalists. Amnesty International called the facility a human rights disaster and launched a campaign to shut it down because of the unsanitary conditions, lack of medical care, and minimal access to lawyers, and the family not knowing where their fucking family were. Also, there were reports this concentration camp cost $450 million and got flooded in a day. Now, I know this video devolved into comparing the aura of the Gestapo and ICE, but I can make this joke. Stalin was Georgian and we fought the Nazis, so I can make fun of the enemy. Also, I did get checked by the American Border Force too, so I can make fun of them as well. With that being said, comparing aura of the Gestapo and ICE is like comparing a nuclear bomb to a kid with bad lungs, which does usually happen to be ISIS targets. These dudes cover their faces because they are afraid to be cancelled online and be doxxed. What are you, bro? Dream? They are so proud of their jobs that they cover their faces. And if anybody got a problem with what I'm saying, my name is Willie Sagnol and I am the head coach of the Georgian football team. It's so amazing how technology has advanced so far, right? We all have phones, computers, debit cards, Ubers, and social.
Bruh, real camp. And now they had to I believe they shut down Alligator Alcatraz. And guess which state they moved it to? Yeehaw! My home state of Texas.
Media with this AI company Palantir cooperating with ICE on locating and catching these people to deport them. You know, back then the Gestapo had to keep tabs on all these unwanted people with lists and stuff, had to go through the trouble of locating them, but now there is no need because Palantir does all the work for them. They're even lazier than the Gestapo, man. I can't fucking believe this. I'm very interested in how Zoran will deal with ICE in New York because I don't think New Yorkers will take ICE lightly. I hate this shit and I don't want to see it around the world. It's just brutality based off race and it has nothing to do with being illegal or anything. And I don't want them to set the precedent for the entire world to start doing stuff like this because America, Russia, Israel are all about kidnapping people now. We talked about America this entire video. They're extreme protesting in Israel for the right to the people they kidnap, and Russia decided to go one level above everything and start kidnapping tens of thousands of kids and giving them away on a website where you can filter them by hair color, eye color, age, and behavior, with around 20,000 kids being abducted. One of the most famous Ukrainian bands, Dacha Bracha, made a music video too about the kidnapped Ukrainian children that have still yet to return to their homes. It's on the United 24 channel. You can check it out if you want.
Okay,
it's very sad,
not heard of
and
that.
I hope this worldwide bullshit ends for everyone. Thanks a lot for watching. Goodbye. Don't forget to click on the description link to get the special discount CyberGhost VPN is granting to my channel. Users. This application will protect your data while you browse and give you full access to all blocked content on the internet for only $2.03 a month. Totally risk-free, as you already know. So check it out. Link in the description.
Caucasians versus Caucasians. Oh, that's funny.
The day of Charlie Kirk's murder, the United States Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, led a group of troops in the Lord's Prayer in honor of his fallen friend. A man of faith, Hegseth hosted a Fox series on the life of Jesus, and he opened his Senate confirmation hearing by thanking God.
All glory, regardless of the outcome, belongs to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
And his third wife. He also thanked his third wife. When he's not basking in the glory of Christ, he's breaking international law by giving orders to kill them all during boat strikes in the Caribbean. But the wildest thing is that Hegseth's faith and militaristic bloodlust aren't mutually exclusive. In fact, they're both perfectly consistent with American evangelical Christianity, which is maybe a problem. Maybe that's not great. Maybe we don't love it. So how did a religion that calls for loving your enemies and praying for those who persecute you get transformed into a white nationalist political project?
No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division.
And how can we stop this project from turning America into some white Christian ethno-state? Well, this video is a companion to my recent video that discusses my own personal journey out of evangelicalism and into the loving hands of Karl Marx. In this one, I'm going to examine the historical and political convergence of these ideas.
Any of y'all know my Christianity lore? Sound off in chat. Or maybe ask me some of the questions. I'll give it all away.
But if you want to check out my personal backstory, I'm going to leave the link to that video in the description. So, while young Michael and his friends were talking theology in bars and joining social justice-oriented protest movements across the country, another generation of young evangelicals were basically doing...
What's my test? Making me sound like a believer there, son. I grew up in a very famous Christian family. My grandfather had an SNL character after him. Old Gary Smalley had a SNL character, Stuart Smalley, based off of him. So I grew up heavy in the church. Not anymore.
Andrew Tate's.
It's because the church just doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. That's what was so depressing to me is I didn't even have to lose faith. I just had to gain enough faith and understanding to go, oh, wait, y'all ain't about that life. Y'all don't know. And then people will try to excuse and say, well, there's some good churches. I'm like, marginally, kind of, they do the bare minimum. Like the best of the best ones would do what I would say is the bare minimum. Whereas I just want more radical things, radical revolutionary things. And I think Jesus talked and pointed to a lot of those things. And people born 2,000 years removed from that context aren't really going to understand or come to the same conclusions as the ones they had when they were written.
Stuff, but for Jesus instead of sex trafficking.
Yoga is demonic.
And this right wing of the evangelical movement was already decades into a project of infiltrating and co-opting.
Yeah, my family knew this guy.
American political and military power to serve the goal of creating a white Christian ethno-state.
Jesus deals with
Forget his
other
name, but I know
kingdoms
him.
by crushing them.
Okay, so that's Pastor Mark Driscoll, who was in many ways ahead of his time. He was an MMA influencer years before Joe Rogan had a podcast microphone that was lowered down enough so that he could reach it.
So my dad has done, I think, multiple Sunday services for Driscoll churches. We basically touched anywhere and everywhere that was non-denominational American evangelical, kind of the most mainstream line of Christianity. That's basically where my family was the most infamous. The more conservative, the more traditionalist, the more old school you were, didn't mean we didn't go to your churches. It was just kind of in the minority. One, there weren't as many as you. And two, you didn't have that money to be paying my parents to show up.
And he also preached about a sort of hyper-masculinity that would be right at home in the darkest corners of contemporary YouTube.
From his mouth comes a sharp sword. Yes, your sons should be able to play with swords.
One of his primary concerns was that Christian men had been, and this is his language, not mine, pussified. And that this pussification process led to men avoiding church because they had no interest in a, quote, Richard Simmons hippie queer Christ. Again, his words, not mine. He wanted.
Bro, that's crazy. That is so removed. I mean, we're coming back to the Crusades days. I think we're gonna try to reincarnate, what's the word I'm looking for? Reincarnate fucking kings and queens and royal family, and then we're literally gonna go on land crusades, but with technology. Gonna be some Warhammer 40K ass shit.
Once, and I swear to God, I'm not making this up, told the women in his congregation that it was their duty to give their husbands blowjobs to get them to come to church.
How dare you!
And this was all grounded in a vision of Jesus as
I'm sure he worked it in like a joke or something, like, oh, just kidding, but still. Oh.
an American badass.
Totally and completely badass.
Driscoll called Jesus an aggressive, anger-filled leader who picked fights with religious authorities, slaughtered thousands of pigs, ordered his disciples around, and didn't mind causing offense. You know.
Yeah, but for the cause of what? Like, why was he? It was for a pretty Richard Simmons hippie queer ass reason, motherfucker. Like, why did he flip tables? Me wonders. Slaughtering thousands of pigs. Okay, I mean, that's a little woo woo. Okay, you're getting into demons and you're doing some spells and shit. That's pretty hippy dippy. All right. Ordered his disciples around. Yeah, but he was the sacrificial servant. So to say ordered his disciples around, and the image that you're evoking when you say that as Mark Driscoll, you're speaking like a commander in an army, and that is literally the antithesis of what Jesus came to do. He did not come on a white horse. He came on a donkey. He did not come to he literally just gave his life. He didn't ask others to give them and to commit violence. It is the opposite, and didn't mind causing offense. This one is very true. The sad reality Mark Driscoll will never understand is Mark Driscoll is the Pharisee that Jesus was offending at the time. Mark Driscoll is perfectly aligned with all the Pharisaical ideology. They were very patriarchal. They were very strict and orderly, and they were very popular too, which Mark Driscoll is very popular. He popularized getting guys to church, and he did that by making things really raw and wood and dark, and you played more hardcore songs, and you showed videos from Fight Club and blah blah blah. You tied that into your sermon. We can all imagine how you can make church into a UFC fight or into a WWE ring, and yeah, you're gonna rake in the fucking dudes. But that doesn't mean you wouldn't be one of the ones very offended by Jesus' teachings. Ho 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 ho. You all right, let me think of some of the offensive lines that Jesus would have. One, praying and making a show of yourself. He would probably get in trouble for that one. Whitewashed tomb. That's probably a good curse against him. Flipping the tables. I mean, that was very communist and very like against establishment kind of theft. Everyone knew it went on, but they couldn't do anything about it because of the position of power the Sadducees occupied in the temple. You just had to take it. And that's why he called them the den of thieves. But Whitewashed tombs. Oh, the best one. Camel fitting through the eye of a needle. Mark Driscoll ain't gonna be comfortable with that one at all because he is a fat camel. I mean, all right, not the fattest camel we've ever seen. If billionaires are as fat of a camel as you can get, Mark Driscoll is just, you know, he looking good. He's a good sized camel, but he's still a camel. He's still got multiple properties across different states, or he's got one or two, I'm sure, very nice properties, and then he's got a whole lot of money flow. He uses about 90% of the church's funds just in church operations. It doesn't go anywhere else, and the 10% that maybe goes towards charitable causes are probably just charities that they own and are slowly distributing. So there's a lot of ways that churches like to work around how they profit and exploit the people.
This Jesus was an ultimate fighting warrior king with a tattoo down his leg who rides into battle against Satan, sin, and death on a trusty horse. I'm 90% sure Jesus doesn't ride a horse in the Bible. Please let me know if he does that. I'm definitely sure he doesn't have
Revelations, but you gotta take the epistles with a grain of salt. You gotta take the anything. Dude, that's the thing. People treat the Bible and canonization as sacred when in reality you can believe the writers were Holy Spirit inspired, but you know what is never acknowledged? Okay, was the Nicene Council inspired by the Holy Spirit? 300 years removed from the writings and the text, those dudes who were white Roman emperors and lords of churches, very powerful, very pharisaical, very sadduceutical. Sadduceutical is not a word, but pharisaical is a word. Very Sadducee-like. You think those motherfuckers were inspired by the Holy Spirit and they included all the correct texts and all the correct copies? Did we find any older canonical texts, perhaps by Coptic churches in Africa that were beyond the influence of those Nicene Roman Empire people? Did they include more books than was just included in the Catholic canon? Oh, interesting. The reality is, just like we have books in the library, the Bible is the Judeo library. That's how they curated and centralized their most important texts, was into one big text. And that's what you kind of saw as the most important to distribute and produce for your people. But there were other books, and they found there, for God's sake, the Jews are all about commentary and adding to that shit. We are into controlling in order to manipulate and propagandize that shit. Very different.
tattoo down his leg in the Bible, but you know.
I want to give a special thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this video.
Ethical
while Jesus might have been all about
Michael.
healing the sick, when you get sick or hurt here in America, it can be a real pain to figure out how to get the help that you need. And ZocDoc, while not being able to perform literal miracles, makes it easier for you to find local and in-network doctors and then instantly book an appointment. Now, I used ZocDoc for the first time a few years ago after I injured myself hitting golf balls at a driving range. Yeah, you heard that right. I'm so fragile, I wasn't able to hit a bucket of golf balls at a driving range without needing medical attention. So I went on ZocDoc and I searched for a doctor who worked on hand injuries, took my insurance, and was 15 minutes away, and I got an appointment to see someone that same week. And their search feature made it really easy to enter everything that I needed. And once you find a doctor that's a good fit, ZocDoc shows you their appointment openings and lets you choose a slot so you can instantly book a visit. And for those of you who are curious, yes, after I saw this doctor, I was healed within a few weeks and back to hitting golf balls at a local public driving range as a form form of exercise. I've used ZocDoc since, and genuinely, it makes things so much easier than the previous way I would do things, which would involve spending a few minutes trying to find a doctor, failing at doing that, putting some ice on whatever hurt, and then just hoping for the best. And because I know the demographics of this channel, I imagine a lot of you, just like me, have been putting off various appointments that you need, so why not make today the day to get that thing checked out? You know, that thing. And hey, in full transparency, the next appointment that I'll make via ZocDoc is to see a dermatologist because I'm an aging man with the skin of a bog person. So head to ZocDoc.com/Michael Burns to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Michael Burns. This message is sponsored by ZocDoc. Now, this sounds like he's describing Jesus as an MMA guy. It's because he absolutely is.
Yeah.
Driscoll and other pastors of his generation explicitly used cage fighting as a model of both Christian masculinity and as a mode of outreach.
I don't think there's anything purer than two guys in a cage. No balls, no sticks, no bats, no help, no team, and just see which man is better.
By 2010, according to Kristen Dumais, an estimated 700 evangelical churches had a dedicated MMA outreach
700.
program.
Mainstream Christianity has feminized men. If we would raise our boys to be men, these kind of problems go away.
If any of you participated in those, please let me know what it was like. Now, if all that got you hyped up, you probably want to order some gear from Jesus Didn't Tap so that everyone knows your Christian love turns off the...
Jesus didn't tap. That I'm trying to figure out how to interpret that. Jesus didn't tap. So did he? He at least tapped first. Like you tapped out, and your father forsaked you, and that was the whole point. And then I guess you tapped back in, or you didn't tap in the first place. Because either if he didn't tap, that undoes the whole thing of him sacrificing himself. So he did tap, and then he didn't tap. Hold on. Maybe some thinking smoke will help. Jesus. Nah, I ain't getting it. I ain't getting this one.
The moment you step foot in the octagon. Now, this was and is a brand of Christianity in which masculinity, strength, and violence were all seen as virtues, and in which there was a thin line between personal violence and nationalist violence. And one of the founders of this brand of hyper-masculine, red-pilled American Christianity is a pastor named Doug Wilson. He's a friend and colleague of Mark Driscoll, and an inspiration to America's pastor of war, Pete Hegseth. Along with being a prolific content creator, Wilson established an...
He said pastor of war. I've never heard such a truer statement. Holy shit.
Network with over 150 churches on 4 continents, recently opening one up just steps from the White House. And at his DC church, the pastor has stated that worship is warfare. Now, Wilson and his churches preach a type of faith that's marked by anger, violence, and hyper-traditional gender.
Yep. We're solving Christianity. Good to have you here. How's it going? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us what you think of the red pill manosphere, Christian nationalism, American evangelical right. Like a loose hubcap down the highway. Retake hit me with the cast. Now we get the bots. Come on, fam. Don't be farmers. hit those engagement buttons. Rapey vibes from that dude. Not talking about Michael Burns. We're talking about
type of faith. It's marked by
are the kind of people
this
that people
guy.
come
Hell
to.
yeah.
hyper traditional churches preach a type of faith that worship is warfare. Now Wilson and
Yeah,
his
the
churches
pastor.
preach a type
Yo,
of faith
what up,
that's
Una?
marked by anger, violence, and hyper traditional gender and sexual norms.
Women are the kind of people that people come out of.
In case you didn't catch what he said there, he said, women are the kind of people people come out of. Women are the kind of people people come out of. Women are the kind of people people come out of. Women are the kind of people people come out of. Ugh. He's also an avowed Christian nationalist.
Christian Nationalist Society for Muslims and Hindus and people who aren't Christians.
Yes, but not room for a ton of them.
But here's the thing, okay? None of this is new. And it isn't the exception to a brand of American religion that's otherwise normal and good. This inherent sense of masculinity, this love of violence, this politics of domination is something that's been cooked into American evangelicalism from the start. And understanding this can actually help make sense of our dystopian political moment.
I'm a Christian and I robustly support the state of Israel.
According to Kristen Dumay's book, Jesus and John Wayne, this type of far-right, hyper-masculine brand of evangelical Christianity has been on the rise since the post-war period in America, embodied in everyone from traveling evangelist Billy Graham to noted Hollywood.
My family was pretty tight with Billy Old Graham and his family.
Cowboy and white supremacist John Wayne. Real thing, by the way. In an interview in the 70s, he referred to himself as a white supremacist. Now, since its modern inception, evangelicalism has consistently stood for a few key ideas, very few of them explicitly theological in nature. I'm going to try to sum them up here. First, they think that Christianity is a firmly patriarchal and
Editor's note, I understand this visual would work 100x better if the song was also playing, but you know how Disney is with the whole copyright thing, so do me a favor and just imagine the song in your head. Hold on. Let's sing it together, chat.
To sum them up here. First, they think that Christianity is a firmly patriarchal and masculine religion. No, men are meant to lead.
We are
with power
with
and strength. Second, this brand of spiritual masculinity supports projects of national war and conquest as long as they're being carried out by the nations associated with the project of the West. And as far back as World War I, American evangelicals have made it clear that in these days, all are patriots or traitors to your country and the cause of Jesus Christ. In other words, they've long said that it's like good to go to war. Like Jesus wants you to go to a war and shoot people with guns. That is a thing that these people think. I'm not making this up. It's a real thing. Third, evangelicalism always has a primary cultural and political enemy. For most of the 20th century, the enemy was communism. You know, Billy Graham once said, communism is a religion that is inspired, directed, and motivated by the devil himself, who had declared war against Almighty God.
And that's just, those are thought concluding phrases. So this is what stops all discussion. There is nowhere else to go. How do I convince someone I am not the devil? I can do it with my actions. I think that's the best way. But if even the greatest, most selfless, sacrificial acts towards those people, they can still be motivated more by hate, rage, and fear by these kind of words. So the ones that use this kind of rhetoric, what are they actually after? Do they actually profess any kind of deep understanding or intimacy of knowledge with any of the concepts they're espousing? Or are the concepts they're espousing just geared towards the grift, towards more power in their control, more wealth for them to profit from? If they are powerful, if they are rich, maybe they aren't about that shit. You know? I think you have to read behind the lines, not in between them, but behind them at the person and go, oh, can I trust what they say about communism being a religion and how it's inspired, directed, and motivated by the devil himself? Oh, what poetic justice is due these people. You know these people? My brother in Christ. You are looking at a famous Christian person. I have been on Christian television since I was a wee little lad. My family is pretty big in these parts of the world, in the American evangelical non-denominational world. You can just look up Smalley, Smalley. That is my background. That is my testimony. That is my story. This is my song.
And in the years after 9/11, Islam joined communism as one of the satanic forces to be defeated by America.
Can't forget those.
Fourth, they think that God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, and that any sort of queer sexual identity or relationship is an all-out affront to God. And finally, they believe that mass...
Yeah. In case anyone was unfamiliar, pedophilia, pederasty was all substituted for homosexuality about 100 years ago. I think you should start a podcast yourself. Yeah, that's in the plans. So the stream is kind of just me hanging out, getting to know all of y'all, getting you to scum together with me. And then, yeah, there's a podcast. It's going to be called, I already have it booked. You can't steal it from me. Love Pod and Your Neighbor. And I'm going to be going deep as fuck into these Christians. Oh, we're going to be the #1 Christian podcast in the world. Love Pod and Your Neighbor, brought to you by Scum.
Media and consumer culture are necessary tools for building power and influencing society. Oh, as a bonus, these guys also did not like the music of Prince.
You know about Prince? You know that he parades back and forth on the stage when he's giving a live concert and masturbates the neck of his guitar and ejaculate flies out of the end of it?
Now, this all leads to a culture engaged in an ongoing holy war against its enemies. And the fear produced by these enemies leads to a desire for an especially masculine type of political power and strength. As Kristen Dumais writes in Jesus and John Wayne, generations of evangelicals learned to be afraid of communist, feminist, liberals, secular humanist, the homosexuals, the United Nations, the government, Muslims, and immigrants. And they were primed to respond to those fears by looking to a strong man to rescue them from danger, a man who embodied a God-given, testosterone-driven masculinity. Jesus is high T. That's what I'm getting from this. Jesus is teed up. Jesus is a quirked up white boy dripping with the sauce, but he wasn't white. This also creates the evangelical persecution complex, where the civil rights of immigrants, Muslims, and trans people is taken as a direct threat to the existence of white American evangelicalism.
Let us protect religious liberty, including for the most persecuted religion on the planet today. It's called Christianity.
Dumais writes that if history teaches us anything, it is that militant white evangelicalism thrives on a sense of embattlement. This creates a sense in which Christian ethical principles, stuff like empathy, charity, forgiveness, compassion, can all be suspended for the...
Now, what is kind of funny about this is they are correct in a sense that there actually does need to be persecution for Christian teachings and the word to kind of make more sense. Not because it is inherent to what you believe in the Christian teachings, but because of the people writing it at the time were talking about their own liberation and their own oppression. So these are people, Judeo-Hebrews, ancient Hebrews, who are more Aramaic looking, way more brown. They are not the dominant empire at any point in the storyline. They come from this enslaved people to then a kind of middling crossroads empire that constantly gets ping-ponged back and forth between the great powers of their time. They even getting enslaved again by the Babylonians. Like, come on. What do white evangelical Americans know about that? What do they know about that life? What history do they have that overthrowing the British? Oh no, taxation without representation. Yeah, bad. Okay, you were white people not getting treated like the divine white you were. All right, those British deserved what they got, but to equate what to equate fleeing now. You can say that Protestantism versus the church, the Anglican Church, and versus Catholicism was a relatively oppressed, as far as it went for white Europeans at the time, minority. That's pretty fair. That they were fleeing and choosing to go live in who knows where. This was not a promised land yet. This was a very dangerous journey. They were fleeing some persecution, but guys, we need to talk about the context of what these Hebrews were going through. We're talking about enslavement twice, and then oppression from empires. Like, guys, they lived under the thumb and boot of many people, and this was the religion and spirituality born from that. How do you resist? What are the conclusions? How do you do better than what was done to you? And then how can you improve those that are doing the oppression against you? Whoa. But this is more akin to the message that Cubans should believe, that Venezuelans right now is UAE slaves in Dubai, all of those kind of places where you're experiencing the real weight of oppression. That is where I think the message drives home the closest to an analog of our time. But that's why the whites ain't right about this shit. They miss the mark so hard on what the whole message of the Old and New Testament was, because they're just too far removed from the context. It's an easy explanation. They're too far removed from the context in which the story and history in which it was written.
The sake of defeating the enemy. You know, whether the enemy is desegregation or queer rights, feminism, socialism, the existence of trans people, or books.
But if you can name whatever enemy you want and imagine the persecution, boom. All right, now you got something that the powerful can use to manipulate and propagandize the oppressed. Boom. Easy. That's what the Roman Catholic Church has done, is still doing, and not to the greatest. Now, American evangelicals are kind of taking that torch. They have had the torch, but, you know, they're kind of tug-of-warring it as far as the wide world goes. But as far as the imperial core, evangelicals got that shit on lock.
That are scary.
Blessed are those who are persecuted. And so, look, being persecuted is a blessing. I think the pastor might agree with this. If you aren't currently being condemned, death threats, being trying to run out of town, you're not fighting hard enough. I mean that. I mean, look, you got to be boundary pushing. You have to be trying to, you could tell a lot of a man based on the enemies that you earn.
The craziest psyop, if it comes to light, will be they didn't have enough material, actual persecution happening to create the complex that they needed in their followers. So they actually ended up persecuting themselves. And I'm talking because Tyler Robinson, come on, guys. That whole shit is rank. with patsy bullshit. And the angle was not the angle. So if you're covering, why are you covering? Are you covering for your own incompetence? That's fine. All right. You don't know where the real shooter is. You don't know who he is, and you can't get to him. So might as well take what you got and run with that. Or that was the intent the whole time. And you do know the shooter. You intended the shooter because you want to create this persecution complex. And he is your perfect sacrificial lamb for the situation. And I thought they would crack down a lot harder, but maybe they're slow rolling it. Maybe it's just going through the pipes. But I expected a lot more Patriot Act type action, you know, some 9/11 response type shit to this incident. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this unfolds. It's still pretty fresh.
Christians all over the nation are being attacked.
We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. We honor his name. We are Charlie Kirk.
Persecuted for their beliefs.
And this administration are...
Hold on. Actually, it's annoying me that I don't know the lyrics. Hold on. I bet here. Hold on. This will be even funnier. Hold on. We are Charlie Kirk.
Oh my God, this has 374,000 likes. Breaking. Erica Kirk says, I was...
Not that one. Okay. We are.
He said, we are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. We fight for the gospel. Honor his name. We are Charlie Kirk.
Actually, not that bad. You were on key. That was fantastic. Thank you.
He kind of hit that. I'm not going to lie.
Thank you.
I hate complimenting him, but he kind of hit that.
Oh, fuck.
fully committed to restoring and defending religious liberty for all Americans.
Evangelical Christians are the ones that have to explain ourselves a lot.
They're attacking you and painting white as evil as a tool to disconnect all of us from Christianity.
Objective morality is under attack.
Religious freedom means we all can sing our faith regardless of who we are, where we live, and what we believe. But today, faith is under attack in way too many places.
Most people who are American assume that the reason why there is no persecution of Christians in the United States is because we live in a free country and we have the freedom to believe in whatever religion we choose. But that is not true.
And if this holy war has a contemporary martyr, well, it's the late Charlie Kirk, who wielded the power of the media and the logic of consumption to create a new generation of militant Christian nationalists, putting him in a historical line going from Billy Graham to Jerry Falwell to James Dobson.
Well, this is why.
James Dobson! That's who my uncle works for right the fuck now. VP of Focus on the Family. Represent. Smallies, we are the table.
Your faith is the most important thing. Because for those of us that are Christians, it doesn't drive you crazy. You actually see what's going on, which is that we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and darkness and spirits, that there is a spiritual war here.
Now, Kirk understood that the key...
There is this imaginary war that we can create enemies of anything we want. And imagine the hurt and pain they cause us without actually having to define the real material pain and the real oppression. No. We can just imagine it because we are in a war of principalities.
Growing his movement and gaining power wasn't careful argumentation or acts of Christian love and service. It was creating a media empire that spread his message in easily digestible sound bites, i.e. content.
Free sex drives young women insane. The more sexual partners a young woman has in college, the more likely she is to be clinically depressed, on antidepressants, because sex for men is totally different than sex for women.
These sound bites and clips were then consumed and regurgitated by the young masses, leading to the rapid expansion of his message, and leading many to compare him to a modern-day MLK. Oh boy, what are we doing?
MLK, in my personal opinion and based on every objective analysis, he actually gave us more race focus and less emphasis on character and conduct.
This consumptive practice is of course part of the evangelical playbook. As Dumais writes, the products Christians consume shape the faith they inhabit. And as she writes describing the early growth of American evangelicalism, to evangelize the nation, evangelicals needed magazines that could reach millions and access to the airwaves for national radio broadcasts. They needed organizations for missions and for evangelical colleges and Bible schools. They already possessed the resources and the brainpower. What was missing was a network that would support and amplify these individual efforts. But it's not just Kirk that gets to be a martyr. In this new culture of evangelical persecution, the smallest slight can turn your average college tennis player into a victim worthy of national media attention. Take Samantha Fulnecki, the Oklahoma college student who bravely stood up for her faith by writing a completely dogshit college assignment.
Bro, the most dog shit ass paper I've ever fucking read in my, and this is talking from a kid who went to Bible Institute of Los Angeles. Okay, Samantha Fulnecki is at Oklahoma University. Don't have Bible nor Christian in the name, motherfucker. And I hate it. Even putting my Christian hat on. Okay, the one who minored in biblical studies, okay, majored in philosophy. Putting that hat on, that was a dog shit ass paper, especially for a psychology class, you dumb bitch. God, so fucking stupid to use your, and I think it's disingenuous as hell. Looking into her mom, it looks like this is all just what's the word I'm looking for? It's disingenuous. It's grifting. It was bad faith because I think they knew who was going to be grading it and they knew what they were going to do in their reaction. So I guess those are disingenuous and bad faith. They did it with the intent of being failed, but they wanted to fail with a purpose in mind of projecting her dropping out of Oklahoma University or Oklahoma University capitulating to them, which I don't think was in their calculations. Holy shit. TP USA chapter there has gone ham on the school, but let's see what he has to say about her
assignment, about how God created two genders but also one gender, and how it's like demonic forces that lead people to be trans or queer, and how it's biblically justifiable to bully queer kids or something like that. Free speech, things of that nature.
I gave my opinion, and not just my opinion, but that's like the Bible says that God created male and female, and anything that's not from God or glorifying to God is glorifying to the enemy.
And what seems to be a really obvious setup to punish a trans professor and then gain media attention, Fulnecki received a 0 on her assignment, then both contested the grade with the university and shared her story with Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's organization, who turned it into an example of a resentful trans professor persecuting a faithful white Christian student. Now, while the martyrs of previous generations, like Catholic Archbishop Oscar Romero, were assassinated while giving mass by the members of a right-wing death squad, today's evangelical martyrs become spiritual heroes by refusing to use citations in a college assignment. Romero
imagined persecution. That's what we're talking about. You are using your imagination to think this is persecution. And this is what makes news in those circles. This is how riled up they are for this bullshit. When they used to actually do something. They do have a good history of genuine resistance against oppression, but this ain't it.
Died while asking soldiers in his country to refuse to carry out violent acts of repression in the name of the state, while Fulnecki likely orchestrated the whole affair with her mother, who's an attorney that defended January 6ers, and the Erica
that's what I
Kirk
said.
TPUSA. And let's be clear here, Romero wasn't trying to get killed, but Fulnecki is very clearly trying to turn herself into a victim for attention. As my colleague Lux put it, St. Stephen didn't get filled with those arrows on purpose. Now, Fulnecki isn't the only one to ride the post-Kirk wave, as quickly after his passing, J.D. Vance jumped on his show to weaponize the logic of Christian persecution to further the political project of white nationalism. Now, Vance, who is a member of the same church as Oscar Romero and Dorothy Day, advocates for a version of Christianity more theologically aligned with that of Kirk and Fulnecki. Two individuals who I'm pretty sure were incapable of reading a book. And Vance bridges an interesting divide between the more hardcore white Christian nationalists like Doug Wilson and Pete Hegseth and the theologically curious tech dystopian world of guys like Peter Thiel. Now, Thiel not only handpicked and then funded Vance's political rise, he's also recently become obsessed with religion in his own way, giving lectures in San Francisco about the rise of the Antichrist. Honestly, sounding a bit like he just, I don't know, took acid and discovered the Left Behind novels.
The slogan of the Antichrist is peace and safety.
And while the connection between evangelicalism and Silicon Valley might seem weird, in Jesus and John Wayne, Dumez traces the alliances between evangelicals and the military technology industry and the emergence of neoliberalism. So it shouldn't shock us that evangelicals would at least be fascinated by a new era of tech fueled in equal parts by the logic of capitalism and the logic of expansive militarism. But something that makes less sense is how a non-Christian has been the key to evangelicals gaining political and military power in the United States. A question that hangs over the contemporary American Christian nationalist movement is how in the hell did this movement ultimately coalesce around and take power via a man who seems only slightly more Christian than Osama bin Laden?
I'm wondering what one or two of your most favored Bible verses are.
Well, I wouldn't want to get into it because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal, so I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into...
There's no verse that means a lot to you that you think about or cite?
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
J316
even to cite a verse that
no,
you like?
I don't want to do that.
You're an Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy?
Probably equal. I think it's just an incredible... The whole Bible is an incredible. I joke, very much so. They always hold up The Art of the Deal. I say my second favorite book of all time. But I just think the Bible is just something very special.
Let me know in the comments if you're more or less Christian than Osama bin Laden. We can see the roots of this by jumping back to Bruce Barron's 1925 book, The Man.
Dude. Osama at least believed in Jesus as a prophet, and they did read the Old and New Testaments. So, homeboy might have had more biblical literacy, Osama bin Laden, than Trump. Just saying.
Nobody knows, which Dumez talks about in the book Jesus and John Wayne. Now, according to Dumez, Barron made the Christian businessman the prototype of Christian manhood. He depicted Jesus as the world's greatest business executive. His Jesus was a winner, a strong, magnetic man, the kind who could inspire great enthusiasm and build great organizations. Now, while some might mistakenly associate Jesus with loving his enemies, healing the sick, or I don't know, feeding the poor, the prophets of American evangelicalism instead painted Jesus as good at business. Now, this might seem at odds with the other dominant evangelical logic emerging around that time, which viewed Christ as a soldier on the battlefield, but as the 20th century moved forward, Dumez notes that the neoconservative agenda meshed exceedingly well with evangelical militarism. So while we might not see Trump as a stereotypically masculine figure, as the battlefield moved from the beaches of Normandy to the high-rises of Manhattan, Trump embodies a type of masculinity that's seen as useful for the evangelical mission. Dumez writes that for evangelicals, there were warriors on the actual field of battle, and there were those who emerged victorious in the rough and tumble world of capitalism. And for many, no one had been more victorious in the war of capitalism than Donald Trump. You know, he's a real estate mogul turned reality star, made rich by selling his naming rights to developers. You know, and even though Jesus once said that it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God, well, evangelicals saw his wealth as a strength rather than a liability. And his utter lack of ideological conviction made him the perfect avatar of both free market logic and the increasingly theologically shallow world of American evangelicalism.
I'm very pro-choice. I hate the concept of abortion. I hate it. I hate everything it stands for. I cringe when I listen to people debating the subject. But I just believe in choice.
You know, Trump's professional trajectory from slumlord to real estate scammer to some failed casinos to monetizing his name to crypto scams to his own line of branded Bibles all embody the raw logic of wealth and power, and specifically wealth and power for a very particular type of person. White guys. Even if he had no real evidence of personal faith or belief, this paradoxically
Trump has a neck gina. Trump has a neck gina.
Made him a
Just makes me think of the Step Brothers when he makes fun of his little brother. Yeah.
Better
older
vessel
brother
for American evangelicalism than candidates who were actually Christian, which included most of the people that initially ran against him in 2016. And we know from experience that the one time evangelicals actually had one of their own in the White House, they fucking hated him. You know, Jimmy Carter was a Southern evangelical practicing Christian Sunday school teacher who practiced his faith openly. But letting his faith rather than militaristic or free market values determine his politics quickly made him an enemy of the very community from which he came. In case this is just one thing you're watching during a marathon goon session, to be clear, the point there is that the president that Christians hated the most was the Christian guy because he wanted to do Christian stuff less than he wanted to do capitalist and military stuff. And they hated that. Carter's Christian beliefs literally made him a liability to the evangelical community. On the flip side, the lack of coherent beliefs makes Trump the perfect leader for evangelicals. As Dumez writes, evangelicals were looking for a protector, an aggressive, heroic, manly man, someone who wasn't restrained by political correctness or feminine virtues, someone who would break the rules for the right cause. One of his religious biographers said he was the ultimate fighting champion for evangelicals. Yeah. MMA, these people can't stop talking about MMA. There's so many examples you could use of someone that Jesus would be like, and the example they keep coming back to is people with like neck tats that go in a cage and beat the shit out of someone else who has CTE.
Dude, homie couldn't even get his own personal copy. He had to bring the hotel Bible. He had to bring the Bible from the hotel. No one in the UFC had something for him. Couldn't even get Trump's Bible up there. You too damn lazy.
That's the number one example. I mean, take Trump's answer to what his favorite book of the Bible is.
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics. The whole Bible is an incredible. I joke. Very much so. They always hold up the Art of the Deal. I say my second favorite book of all time.
Rather than indicating a lack of familiarity with evangelical culture, this perfectly encapsulates a faith that's grounded in personal experience and revelation, in which individual salvation is more important than participating in any historically or theologically grounded community. It's very much a theology and politics as vibes sort of situation. And in fact, the modern canon of evangelical theology has in many ways been created by cultural trends and market forces. Dumez writes about how national Christian bookstores have consistently been more willing to stock books advocating for patriarchal, militaristic, and nationalistic theology than texts that question those values. And for younger Christians, these bookstores were often seen as offering proper Christian texts. So when books that border on white nationalism are on the shelves and works of liberation theology or feminist theology are not, well, they're kind of telling you who the enemy is. And this leads to an intellectual culture in which, for conservatives, a defense of white patriarchy emerged as a unifying thread across this range of issues. For conservative evangelicals, a defense of white patriarchy would move to the center of their coalescing cultural and political identity. Which is why it's not shocking to see Kristi Noem praying with ICE agents before they go off to terrorize brown people. I mean, we can contrast this with the response to the same issues by a more traditionally theological and hierarchical form of Christianity, Catholicism. Recently, the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops put out a statement condemning the acts of ICE agents and emphasizing the humanity and dignity of all people, regardless of immigration status.
We are concerned
about the conditions in detention centers and the lack of access to pastoral care.
And according to the logic of this faith tradition, you can't simply decide to be a Catholic and be pro-ICE. You know, instead, by being on the side of ICE, you are actively going against your theological tradition. Unless you're noted Catholic J.D. Vance, because J.D. Vance is the one Catholic who can be a Catholic, but then disagree with the Catholic Church about everything because, I don't know, he went to Yale or something. I don't know. Also, Pope Leo, if you are listening, please excommunicate J.D. Vance. If you do, and I swear to God, I will root for the White Sox for one full season. Pope Leo, come on. Just excommunicate
That sounds like a pretty
Vance,
good deal.
And for a full season, Michael O'Neill Burns becomes the biggest White Sox fan in the world. While there is an obvious theological coherency in Oscar Romero encouraging Christians to not commit human rights violations in the name of the state or the military, and Catholic bishops calling for a universal conception of social justice and humanity, the evangelicals have utilized the emptiness of their tradition to argue for other types of stuff. They like other types of things.
What is the connection between furries, pornography, transgenderism, and political violence? Well, there seems to be a link.
This brings us back to young martyr Samantha Fulnecki. While she could have at least attempted to engage with some sort of academic literature to make an argument about traditional conceptions of gender, she instead pulled the classic evangelical move of just saying shit, just saying whatever you feel like and being like, God is in me, so whatever I say is God or something.
I didn't mean for that to be offensive, but the truth will naturally offend people, and so I think that's why people are kind of viewing that as
you have
offensive.
no concern
In this
for
way,
the truth.
the more classical relationship between faith and reason becomes the very dumb combination of faith and fanaticism, or faith as fanaticism. This lack of moral, theological, or ethical core renders American evangelicalism fundamentally meaninless. It's little more than a cultural shell or brand that encompasses the type of white, masculine, individualist ethos that connects the line of great men ranging from John Wayne to Charlie Kirk to Donald Trump.
Someone who says that I'm against abortion, but I'm in agreement with the inhuman treatment of immigrants who are in the United States. I don't know if that's pro-life. So they're very complex issues. I don't know if anyone has all the truth on them, but I would ask first and foremost that there be greater respect for one another.
Okay, but at this point, I need to be fair and give credit where credit is due. Because currently, a black artist has been #1 on the evangelical Christian charts, which does complicate the narrative about the white supremacy inherent in evangelical culture. The black artist in question here is he's AI. It's a computer person. It's not a real guy that exists in the world. It's a computer.
Okay, I didn't know the Charlie Kirk song is an AI black artist. Didn't know he was black. He's Blake. He's Blaik. Blake. He's Blake.
Computer person made on the. It's a guy made on the computer, not a real guy. You couldn't go see this guy in concert because he's computer. Does that make sense?
Don't grow weary in well-doing. Get those problems off your chest.
And he was created by a MAGA rapper who notably performed in DC on January 6th. And I honestly think that this right here is the perfect encapsulation of the state of American evangelical culture. You know, the #1 Christian singer doesn't even have a soul. You know, they're an AI constructed symbol.
He said the #1 AI Christian singer, or the #1 Christian singer doesn't even have a soul.
Simulacrum created using the tool
of J.D. Vance. Oh, and Marco Rubio. Yeah. Oh, they're so good. And her. Oh, I haven't seen all of them then.
The Caroline one, amazing.
Oh, dude. It's so easy to grift these grifters because they're such idiots. You just have to glaze them up for a couple hours, get them to answer bluntly and honestly, and you got everything you need. You can roast them so hard. Oh, hell yeah.
Of the hyper-capitalist Silicon Valley to achieve algorithmic success and create new revenue streams for its creator. And we shouldn't be shocked that evangelicals are skilled at performing and profiting off of a culture of soulless consumption, as they've been doing it for years. And in many ways, they were at the forefront of perfecting a version of digital capitalism. And now they've created a new and immaterial form of cultural and religious practice. One where AI singers can fill the room with the Holy Spirit and AI pastors can answer your questions about theology, and where new Christian AI platforms might even help bring about the second coming of Christ. That's a real thing. That is a real thing, by the way. I'm not making things up. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not exaggerating. It's a real thing.
Jesus was born out of a virgin mother. What's more virgin than a computer? If Jesus does return, even if Jesus was a physical person in the past, you don't think that he could return as artificial intelligence?
It's a Christianity where creating content and selling crypto...
Not yours. Sure as hell won't be yours. Maybe after you fuck it up once or twice. Holy shit. Ooh.
Coins matters more than feeding the poor or questioning principalities and powers. I can't not note here that my guy Pope Leo has recently spoken out about AI.
Be careful that your use of AI does not limit your true human growth. Use it in such a way that if it disappeared tomorrow, you would still know how to think, how to create, how to act on your own, how to form authentic friendships.
And listen, I get it too. You could be watching this and you might be thinking like, hey, Michael, haven't Catholics done some stuff? Haven't they done some stuff before? Haven't they? You seen the movie Spotlight, among other things? I get it. I'm simply saying in this contemporary instance, it's an example of a type of Christian practice that at least has been against, genocide and forms of white supremacy and ICE and AI. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to mass this weekend. You know what I mean? I'm not an altar boy. I'm too old. But this lack of humanity and embrace of slop is at the heart of the new evangelical culture. And this culture has about as much intellectual and theological depth as the AI slop that so many Christians are just falling in love with.
Oh my God, no! Dude, these uncreative, talentless ass people that have only been able to use their personal imaginations can now use whatever limited capacity AI has to produce all their wildest imaginations. Oh, God. But it is revealing. There will be a lot to study in the history to come about this phenomenal period of time. It truly is a phenomenal period to be alive, isn't it, chat? Chat, are you still there? Oh, God. know banana's a little better than this. They won't know, though. They only use the free shit. God, he's so fucking white. Every goddamn time. That guy's at least looks like someone they might deport. Okay, those are very black people. What a ride.
American evangelicalism as a cultural and political project is completely wedded to a culture of consumption. This leads to the support of any political leader or system that promises to protect the mechanisms of consumption at all costs. In this way, it's little more than a spiritual veneer to American capitalism and militarism. And while it's very tempting to try to own these folks by pointing out their own theological incoherence, this would be as useful as trying to explain to a CEO that the capitalism is actually bad because profits are at the expense of working people, you know? No, he doesn't know, because the profit is the whole point. Or as a great Canadian poet once said, all that money, the money is the motive. You know, it's honestly hard for me to see American evangelicalism as something worth reclaiming. And at best, I think we can just hope for it to collapse under the weight of its own contradictions. Because while I haven't just straight up said this yet, here's the dirty little secret at the heart of all of this. American evangelicalism and Christian nationalism more broadly is little more than the logic of capitalism with a Bible verse tattooed on its lower back. And it's been so successful because it's tapped into the individualist, white supremacist, free market logic that is at the heart of American capitalism. But guys, it goes deeper than this, because evangelicalism didn't just become so dominant by doing capitalism. Capitalism became so dominant because in many ways it's just been doing religion. So in the third and hopefully final video of this series, I'm going to talk about the relationship between capitalism and religion, and in particular, the unholy union of capitalism and American evangelicalism. And then I want to talk about how Christianity has been taken seriously by marginalized, oppressed, and colonized people. And when they do it, it actually looks a lot like radical anti-capitalist politics. It almost looks like they're doing communism.
I pre-watched the videos he hasn't made yet.
Uh-oh, Charlie Kirk. Uh-oh, James Dobson. Uh-oh, Samantha Fulnecki. What's gonna happen? And I wanted to say thank you so much for your reactions to my last video on my journey of becoming a sort of Christian atheist. I read the comments. I really liked some of the emails I got from you all. It means a lot to me that that video connected with some of your own journeys and stories. It's so nice when we can do something human via this very unhuman platform. Please check that video out if you haven't already. And thank you for all the recommendations for things to look into for this video. That's actually how I found out about the book Jesus and John Wayne. One of you told me to read it. So thank you so much for that. And again, you gave me so much to think about that I think I'm gonna make one more video in this series, unless you tell me not to. But if you want video number 3, please tell me to do it. As a reminder, this channel is primarily funded via my Patreon. So if you like this sort of work and you want more of it, please consider signing up. I promise if you do, your life will not be any more or less blessed. There's no spiritual reward for supporting my channel and my team on Patreon. And thank you so much to all of my current patrons, especially my biggest dogs. You are the followers of the one true faith, and together we will journey through this digital desert on our way to a new promised land. And in the meantime, if you come from a really Christian family, you know, bring a bunch of this up at Christmas, go home for Christmas, be with your family, make it weird, you know, bring stuff up from this video on my other one, make it uncomfortable, and then let me know how uncomfortable you make it. Leave a comment or shoot me an email and I'll tell those stories on an upcoming stream or something like that. Okay, thank you. God bless. I'm gonna go bomb some boats now because of Christ.
Oh, that was great. And this was the video we
lived in a
watched
black
yesterday.
neighborhood for quite a while.
Woo! Sorry, SNR Captain came in right at the end of the broadcast. We just finished our last video. Oh, thank you everyone who scummed on by. Always appreciated, and we'll be live. Oh yeah, I said I was gonna try Twitch today, and I did retake again. Oh well, we love retake. Nah, we're gonna do retake like the whole holidays. We'll do the politics show here tomorrow, same time, noon CST. Yeah, politics show tomorrow. Anything else? I'll probably be live again, same time, the next day, Saturday. Maybe not Sunday. Sunday I might take a break. Maybe I won't. We'll see. Keep tuning in, keep paying attention, turn on notifications for my profile or the Scum channel, and bye-bye. Bye, Scum. Bye, Scum, Scumrads. And you can win raffles like the one I did before this stream. And many, many more rewards to Scum when we get things scumming more along. A lot of stuff coming on the new year. Hopefully more activity starts happening with the holidays being gone. But I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.